Chosen one. Stop, just for a moment. Right now. In this very second, the energy around you is thrumming with an almost imperceptible vibration. It's not loud. It's not a thunderclap. It's a profound, silent shift, a moment of crystalline clarity where the universe, or the divine, or simply your deepest, most authentic self is recalibrating your entire trajectory. This isn't a future event we're talking about. This is happening as you listen. Do you feel it? That quiet, unshakable intuition that what you are moving into is fundamentally different from what you are leaving behind. For too long, the narrative has been about the loud changes, the dramatic pivot, the sudden revelation. But the most powerful transformations, the ones that truly define a chosen one's legacy, are the ones that happen in the deep, quiet recesses of the soul, far from the noise of the world and the judgments of others. They are the moments when a single choice, made in solitude, rewrites the next chapter of your destiny. And you, my friend, are standing right at that precipice. This moment requires urgency, not the urgency of panic, but the urgency of seizing a profound opportunity. Think of it like a train switching tracks. The clack-clack of the switch itself is tiny, but the resulting destination is miles apart from the original. You are the switch and the track is moving. If you miss this moment of quiet adjustment, you risk continuing down a path that is no longer aligned with the majestic purpose you were set apart for. We need to dissect this quiet change, understand its mechanics, so you can fully step into the profound, transformative power that is your birthright. This journey we're about to embark upon, this deep dive into the architecture of quiet change, is not for the casual viewer. It's for you, the one who knows they were set apart, the one who has felt the lonely weight of a purpose too great for the average life. We are going to expose the spiritual laws governing the moments when everything quietly changes. We're going to give context to that deep, soulful ache you've been feeling, the one that whispers, there is more. But before we fully surrender to the gravity of this shift, I need to know you are truly in this with me. This is where the community of the chosen ones is built. If you recognize this feeling of quiet anticipation, if you know in your core that you are being called to a greater expression of yourself, then take a second right now. Hit that like button. It's not just an algorithmic gesture, it's a spiritual signature, a declaration to the universe that you are ready for this silent, monumental transformation. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and ring the bell. You need these insights to navigate the subtle yet powerful terrain of your unique purpose. We're building an arsenal of quiet power here, and you don't want to miss a single tool. The world is obsessed with volume, with spectacle, with the instant visible victory. But the foundational principle of a chosen one's power lies in a paradox. The greatest power is often the quietest. We are constantly taught to look for the earthquake, the fire, the mighty rushing wind, as Elijah did in 1 Kings 19. Yet, where did the divine reveal himself? Not in the noise, but in the still small voice, the kol demamadaka, a sound of sheer silence. That silence, chosen one, is where your current transformation resides. It is powerful because it is unseen, uninterrupted, and therefore undiluted. The external world, with its chatter and demands, is designed to drain power. The internal, quiet world is where it is stored, concentrated, and magnified. Consider the might of an underground river. On the surface, the earth is still, maybe a few trees sway gently. There is no visible sign of the colossal volume of water flowing beneath, carving canyons through bedrock. Yet that subterranean current holds the power to sustain entire ecosystems, to determine the destiny of forests and settlements miles downstream. You are that river now. Your current phase of quiet change is where you are accumulating spiritual momentum. You are not doing nothing. You are engaging in the highest form of spiritual work, internal restructuring. This is the phase of invisible architecture. You are quietly dismantling old beliefs that no longer serve your monumental purpose. You are shedding identities that were imposed upon you by society, family, or even past versions of yourself that didn't understand the true weight of your calling. And this requires silence, a silence that the ego despises. because in silence the truth has nowhere to hide. The paradox deepens when we realize that the quietness of this moment is its protection. If the enemy, whether external adversary or internal doubt, knew the true scope of the transformation taking place within your spirit right now, they would mobilize all their forces to stop it. But because the change is subtle, because it is happening in the hidden chambers of your heart, it is afforded divine cover. It's like a secret military operation. The objective is too vital to announce. You are undergoing spiritual training in an undisclosed, protected location. This shift involves a profound reprioritization of your internal hierarchy. Old wounds, which were once screaming for attention, now start to quietly recede, not because they are forgotten, but because the magnitude of your future vision simply eclipses them. The fear that once paralyzed you now seems manageable, because you have quietly accessed a deeper well of courage. A conviction that is rooted not in ego, but in your divine appointment. This quiet power is also an act of sovereignty. When a king decides a new policy, the most crucial deliberation happens behind closed doors, away from the influence of lobbyists and public opinion. Your heart is your throne room. The quiet decision you make today, to forgive yourself, to trust the guidance, to finally embrace your worth, is the decree that will be enacted across your entire life's domain. Therefore, resist the urge to prove this change to the world immediately. Let the results be the announcement. Let the fruit of your quiet internal labor speak for itself. Your power is in the silence. Your transformation is in the stillness. You are becoming a force that moves mountains without raising your voice. That, chosen one, is the paradox of quiet power, and it is the signature of your anointing. This leads us to the meticulous, unseen forces at work. We often imagine destiny as a sudden, grand structure, a cathedral built overnight, but the truth is far more intricate. Destiny is constructed, tile by tile, choice by choice, by unseen architects, the countless micro-moments of decision that, collectively, determine the course of your life. This quiet change we are discussing is precisely the alignment of these architects. Every great structure requires an invisible foundation. A skyscraper's strength is not in its glittering facade, but in the concrete and steel sunk hundreds of feet into the earth, where no one ever looks. What is your unseen foundation, chosen one? It is your daily discipline. It is the 5 minutes you spend in quiet meditation instead of scrolling. It is the decision to respond with grace instead of anger. It is the moment you choose truth over comfort. These micro-decisions are the invisible architects laying the structural integrity of your future self. When the title says everything quietly changes, it is referring to the cumulative effect of these small sacred acts. Imagine a single drop of water falling on a stone, insignificant, but billions of drops over centuries carved the Grand Canyon. You are in the process of spiritual erosion, quietly, persistently. The divine is using the water of your daily discipline to wear away the hardness, the doubt, and the fear that have shielded you from your true potential. The unseen architects also include the spiritual principles you are unknowingly putting into motion. The law of sowing and reaping, for instance, doesn't announce itself with a trumpet. It is a quiet, constant force. In this moment of quiet change, you are shifting the quality of the seeds you are planting. You are moving from seeds of fear and scarcity to seeds of faith and abundance. The harvest will not appear tomorrow, but the act of planting has already fundamentally altered your future reality. The change is in the seed, and the seed is within you. Another unseen architect is the reframing of your subconscious narrative. Your subconscious is the deep, operating system that runs your life, often without your conscious input. This quiet period is a divine opportunity to access and rewrite those old, limiting scripts. The script that said you were not worthy is being erased by the simple, repeated, quiet affirmation of your divine value. The script that said you can't afford it is being replaced by the conviction of spiritual abundance. This deep internal reprogramming is the quietest, yet most powerful change you will ever experience. This shift necessitates surrender. You must surrender the need for instant gratification, for external validation, and for the noisy applause of the crowd. The architects are at work, but they demand that you step back and trust the blueprint. They are using spiritual tools you may not understand, trials that feel like setbacks, periods of isolation that feel like punishment. But these are not random events. They are the divine hammer and chisel, shaping you into the masterpiece you are meant to be. The quiet change is the realization that your destiny is not something that happens to you. It is something you are actively, quietly, and continuously building. Embrace the small, quiet choices. Honor the micro moment, for when you look back, you will see that the colossal shift in your life began not with a bang, but with a whisper, the whisper of a choice made in the deep silence. This understanding aligns perfectly with the foundational parables of faith. To truly grasp the magnitude of this quiet change, we must turn to a timeless spiritual metaphor, the parable of the sower and the principle of the seed and the soil. This isn't just a story, it's a profound blueprint for the chosen one's transformation. The seed in this parable represents the divine word, the purpose, the anointing, the very essence of the chosen one's calling. The soil is you, your heart, your mind, and the conditions of your spiritual life. The quiet change happening now is primarily an intensive rehabilitation of the soil. Consider the condition of the soil that failed in the parable: the path, hardened heart; the rocky ground, superficial faith, no depth of commitment; and the thorns, the worries of the world, deceitfulness of riches. All of these are external conditions that choked the internal potential. Your quiet moment is the divine turning the earth of your soul. It is the painful yet necessary process of plowing, breaking up the hardened emotional ground of past trauma and resentment. It is the removal of the rocks, the shallow, surface-level commitments that evaporated under the heat of the first trial. And most importantly, it is the uprooting of the thorns, the continuous, quiet refusal to allow the anxieties of this world or the desire for ephemeral riches to suffocate the true life and purpose of the seed. This work is quiet because a farmer doesn't announce his intentions to the public. He works the field in solitude, focusing on the quality of the soil, knowing that the secret of a bountiful harvest lies beneath the surface. For the chosen one, this means spending your energy on cultivating internal conditions, patience, humility, faith, and unconditional self-acceptance. The biblical insight here is that potential is not enough. Every chosen one receives the seed of greatness. But the difference between a life of fleeting success and a life of eternal impact is the depth and quality of the spiritual soil. In this moment of quiet transformation, you are being given the opportunity to shift your soil from rocky to good. This means cultivating depth, not just reading the word, but internalizing it until it becomes bone and marrow. It means cultivating resilience, developing roots so deep that when the inevitable spiritual drought comes, your life force remains unshaken. This process is what separates the called from the appointed. Many are called, meaning they receive the seed, but few are appointed, meaning they have done the arduous, quiet, internal work to ensure the seed not only germinates, but brings forth fruit 100-fold. The change isn't in God's mind toward you. It is in your capacity to hold, nurture, and manifest the calling He has already placed within you. When everything quietly changes, it means your spiritual soil has reached a level of readiness, where the seed of your destiny can finally take root and launch its unhindered ascent into the light. You are becoming fertile ground. This tilling, however, is not always comfortable. Let's be honest, chosen one. The idea of quiet change often sounds serene and meditative. The reality, however, is that this divine calibration, the resetting of your internal compass, is often accompanied by profound discomfort. You are experiencing the tension between your past self and your coming self, and that tension creates friction. Think of it like a master watchmaker resetting a finely tuned chronometer. To achieve perfect accuracy, the watch must be completely disassembled. Tiny, intricate pieces are removed, cleaned, polished, and then reassembled with zero tolerance for error. The disassembling stage is your current moment of discomfort. Things that once held your life together, old habits, old relationships, old coping mechanisms, might feel like they are breaking apart. This is not a punishment. This is divine calibration. The spiritual truth is that you cannot fit a grand, new, expansive purpose into the cramped, restrictive structures of an old self. The discomfort is the growing pain of your soul expanding to match the size of your calling. You feel alienated because you are no longer vibrating at the same frequency as your old environment. You feel restless because your spirit knows the true destination, but your physical self is still anchored to the departure point. Biblically, this is the concept of the refining fire. Malachi 3:3 speaks of the refiner and purifier of silver. A silversmith doesn't put silver in the fire to destroy it. He does it to purify it. The fire of discomfort melts away the dross, the spiritual impurities, the alloyed parts of your character that are not true gold. The silversmith knows the work is complete, not by the clock, but when he can see his own reflection clearly in the molten metal. The discomfort of divine calibration, therefore, is an indicator of imminent breakthrough. If you are feeling a deep, inexplicable sadness, it may be the grief of your soul letting go of a smaller life. If you are experiencing friction in established relationships, it is because your spiritual light is now too bright for the shadows they operate in. If you feel like you are walking through a spiritual fog, it is because your vision is being refocused to see not what is temporary, but what is eternal. Your role in this discomfort is not to fight it, but to lean into it with faith. Allow the process to happen. Say to the divine, I trust the refiner. Surrender to the breaking down, knowing that you are not being ruined but recreated. This is the universe clearing the decks to make space for the extraordinary life you are about to lead. Your tears are the water that cleanses the gold. Your moments of confusion are the darkness before the dawn of true understanding. Embrace the discomfort. It is the sound of a quiet change that is shaking the very foundation of who you were, so you can finally step into the glorious reality of who you are becoming. And this process often necessitates a journey into solitude. The path of the chosen one is, by definition, a solitary one. You were set apart, which means your journey often takes you into spaces where others cannot follow or simply do not understand. In this period where everything quietly changes, you will likely find yourself receiving the gift of spiritual solitude. The world views solitude as loneliness, as failure, as social isolation. The chosen one understands it as a sacred incubator. It is the necessary preparation for the immense responsibility you are about to shoulder. No great leader, prophet or visionary emerged from the crowded marketplace without first spending significant time in the wilderness. Look at the biblical narrative. Moses spent 40 years in the backside of the desert before encountering the burning bush. Jesus spent 40 days in the wilderness before beginning his ministry. John the Baptist was in the deserts until the day of his showing unto Israel. These periods of solitude were not delays. They were the essential, quiet, deep-seated transformation periods. They were the moments where the divine downloaded the full blueprint for the work ahead. Your current solitude is not a rejection by others. It is a divine appointment. It is a sanctuary where you can finally hear the voice of your own truth over the cacophony of the world's expectations. In this solitude, the quiet changes take place on three profound levels. Auditory retuning. In silence, you develop the ability to discern the subtle, guiding voice of the Spirit. This is where your intuition sharpens to a razor's edge. You are learning to distinguish the still, small voice from the noise of the flesh and the hiss of temptation. Character cementing. In solitude, your character is tested in a way it never is in public. There are no cameras, no audiences, no external pressure to perform. You are forced to deal with the true state of your heart. It is here that you cement your integrity, deciding to honor your commitments even when no one is watching. This quiet integrity is the bedrock of your future authority. Vision clarification. Solitude strips away distraction, allowing the grand vision of your purpose to come into crystal clear focus. It is here you realize that the petty squabbles, the trivial worries, and the temporary gains the world offers are utterly insignificant when compared to the vastness of your true calling. Embrace your spiritual solitude not as a sentence, but as a masterclass. You are in the presence of the greatest teacher, being prepared for the greatest task. Do not rush out of this quiet space. Use this time to heal, to listen, and to become whole. When you emerge from this quiet change, your power will not be theoretical. It will be tested and proven by the silence. You will carry an air of authority that comes not from seeking a stage, but from having survived and thrived in the profound quiet of your own spiritual crucible. The fruit of this solitude is a quiet, unshakable confidence. That is the hallmark of a true chosen one. The quality of your inner world is now the most important measure of your journey. The moment everything quietly changes is inextricably linked to the integrity of your hidden life. This is perhaps the most challenging section of a chosen one's journey because it demands radical, uncompromising authenticity in the spaces where no human eye can see. What is the hidden life? It is the unseen reality of your soul. It is your private thoughts, your motivations for giving, your reactions when wronged, your discipline in secret, and your behavior when you are certain there are no consequences. Your hidden life is the true measure of your worth, because it reveals the quality of the commitment you have made to your calling. The world is full of people who successfully act the part of the leader, the wise person, the charitable soul. But the truly chosen are those whose hidden life perfectly aligns with their public declaration. The quiet change happening now is a divine assessment of your integrity, a meticulous audit of your soul's books. Why is this audit happening now? Because the divine is preparing to increase your jurisdiction. You cannot be entrusted with the manifest power and influence you are about to receive if the foundation of your character is shaky. As the Bible warns, he who is faithful in a very little thing is faithful also in much. Luke 16:10. The little thing is your hidden life. The integrity of the hidden life means honesty in thought. You stop making excuses for past failures and take radical ownership of your journey. You are honest about your fears, not just your faith. Discipline in secret. Your commitment to spiritual practice, to learning, to self-care, and to service does not waver whether you are on camera or completely alone. You are practicing the behaviors of the person you are becoming. Motivations of the heart. You seek to serve, not to be seen. You are moving away from the need for applause and toward the pure satisfaction of executing your divine assignment. The quiet change is a purification process where you are quietly dismantling all structures of hypocrisy and pretense. It is a moment where you decide that your internal peace and alignment are more valuable than any external achievement. You realize that a clean heart is a more powerful asset than a massive bank account or a million followers. This is the moment to ask yourself, if all my actions, all my thoughts, and all my secret desires were broadcast for the world to see, would I still be proud of the life I am leading? When everything quietly changes, it means you have passed this integrity check. It means your hidden life is now so rich, so pure, and so aligned with your purpose that the external manifestation of your destiny is now simply a matter of time. You are moving from a state of trying to be the chosen one to simply being the chosen one, even in the deep silence. This authenticity opens the door to hearing the subtle guidance you need. The chosen one must understand that divine communication rarely sounds like a loudspeaker announcement. It is more often a whisper, a gentle nudging, an unshakable sense of knowing, or the profound illumination of a seemingly random coincidence. When everything quietly changes, your spiritual receiving antenna is being fine-tuned. The challenge is that the world conditions us to listen only to the loudest voices. The media, the critics, the internal voice of fear. The echoes of revelation are easily drowned out by this noise. Therefore, the quiet change demands that you become a master spiritual listener, a connoisseur of the subtle. What are these echoes, and how do you recognize them? The echo of repetition. Suddenly, a particular biblical verse, a theme, a mentor's quote, or a key idea keeps appearing in books, conversations, or even dreams. This is the universe repeating the message until you acknowledge it. The echo of intuition, that quiet, immediate feeling that says yes or no without any logical data to back it up. In this phase, Your intuition is the most trusted compass. It is the divine's shortcut, a message that bypasses the limitations of your rational mind. The echo of alignment, a sudden, overwhelming sense of peace and rightness when you make a specific choice, even if that choice seems illogical to others. This peace is the divine confirmation that you are walking in lockstep with your purpose. The echo of disruption, a powerful, uncomfortable no that slams the door on an old path, forcing you to look in a new direction. This echo is often disguised as a setback, but it is actually a divine redirect, preventing you from wasting time on a path too small for your destiny. To hear these echoes, you must cultivate the practice of stillness, not just physical stillness, but mental stillness. You must train your mind to pause and ask, what is the deeper message here, instead of immediately reacting to the surface event. This is where the fruits of your spiritual solitude and integrity pay off. A quiet soul is a soul ready to receive. The quiet change is simply the fact that the volume of these echoes is increasing, while the volume of the world's noise is simultaneously decreasing in its ability to distract you. You are moving beyond seeking signs and into a state of receiving continuous guidance. Trust the whisper, honor the nudge, follow the inexplicable peace. These are the echoes of revelation, and they are not random. They are the clear directions for the final stage of your ascent. They are the quiet instructions guiding you toward the manifestation threshold. This is the point where the invisible becomes visible, where your internal restructuring starts to produce external results that are so sudden, so perfectly timed, and so profound that they cannot be explained by luck or coincidence. This is the universe confirming that the quiet change is complete. The manifestation threshold is often characterized by a few distinct, powerful occurrences. The convergence of resources. Suddenly, the mentors you needed appear. The funding you sought becomes available. The opportunities that were blocked are now effortlessly open. All the necessary elements for your next great leap converge simultaneously. This is the universe aligning itself with your new, higher frequency. The collapse of old structures, the things you were trying desperately to hold on to, relationships, jobs, habits, suddenly fall away, not through force of will, but through a gentle, quiet collapse. This is not a loss. It is the divine clearing the stage, because the old structure cannot support the new you, the deep knowing. You stop hoping for your destiny and start knowing it as an accomplished fact. The uncertainty that plagued you in the past is replaced by an unshakable inner conviction. The moment the doubt leaves your spirit is often the moment the manifestation begins in the world. The quiet change that preceded this threshold was all about raising your vibrational frequency. Imagine your life as a radio. For years you were tuned to a weak, noisy frequency, the frequency of fear, lack, and doubt. The quiet change was the painstaking internal work of adjusting the dial. Now at the threshold you have locked onto the clear, powerful frequency of your highest purpose. The key to crossing this threshold successfully is non-interference. Do not overthink it. Do not panic at the rapid changes. Do not try to force a particular outcome. You have done the internal work. You have cultivated the good soil. You have listened to the echoes. Your work is now to trust the harvest. This is the moment of your quiet coronation. It's not a moment for fanfare, but for profound, internal gratitude and a humble, steadfast readiness to accept the new mantle of responsibility. You have become the master architect of your own soul, and the structure you have built in secret is now ready to be unveiled to the world. Step across this threshold with a quiet confidence. The life you dreamed of, the impact you were born to make, is no longer a promise. It is a present reality. Your quiet labor has earned you this moment. Now what do you do with this powerful new reality? Chosen one, you have heard the charge. You have dissected the quiet tectonic shift that has occurred within your spirit. You have not just watched a video, you have borne witness to the birth of a new epoch in your own life. The truth we have uncovered today is this: you do not need volume to create velocity. Your greatest power will never come from your loudest declarations, but from your deepest convictions. The moment everything quietly changes is the moment you stop seeking external validation for your worth and settle into the quiet, unassailable knowledge that you were chosen before the foundation of the world for this specific time and for this monumental purpose. Your final charge is threefold. Sustain the silence. Never abandon the discipline of your hidden life. The true sign of a mature chosen one is not the size of their platform, but the depth of their roots. Continue to cultivate the good soil of your heart. Go back to your solitude often, not out of necessity, but out of reverence for your source of power. Walk in quiet authority. Do not feel the need to argue for your position or justify your anointing. Let your results be your testimony. Let your peace be your proof. Your authority now comes from the internal shift that has occurred, a shift that speaks louder than any words you could utter. You are the chosen one, and your presence is now your power. Pay it forward. The quiet change you have experienced is not just for you. It is a refinement process designed to make you a clearer conduit for the divine's love and purpose. Look for the chosen ones who are still struggling in the noise. Share your quiet wisdom. Be the calm voice of truth in their storm. The quiet future is a future where you operate from a position of unshakable alignment. It is a future where your efforts are amplified by divine synergy, because you are no longer fighting the current. You are flowing with the irresistible momentum of your true destiny. Embrace the beautiful quiet weight of your anointing. You are not a seeker anymore. You are a finder. You are not a student anymore. You are a master of the subtle, sacred forces that govern creation. Go now, chosen one. Let the noise of the world rush past you. Stand firm in the profound, quiet reality of who you have become. This is the moment everything quietly changes, and the world is about to witness the astonishing, spectacular result of your silence.